All right. Assalamualaikum and a very good morning to all of our audience today. We have here our speaker for the Mydigitalmaker Fair session with Microsoft, Dr. Wagheeh Shukry. He is the Deputy Director of Education Resource and Technology Division. He has been in the Ministry of Education Service for 28 years and has gone through various roles. And now he is the head of the learning platform sector for the Educational Technology. One of the key personnel behind the creation of DELIMa and is looking to provide the framework for digital learning. We have him today to talk about the reimagining of digital learning from online learning to other approaches that suits the teachers moving forward in the digital learning. So I hand it over to you, Dr. Shukry.
Thank you, Maya, for that introduction. My name is Dr. Wagheeh Shukry bin Hassan. I'm from BSTP, as Maya has said. Let me talk a little bit about DELIMa. DELIMa is actually our new branding, which we have introduced on the 15th of June 2020. Before this, the ministry launched Google Classroom way back in July 2019. And then in January, we renamed it Pelantar Pembelajaran Digital, or the learning platform. However, later on, with the integration of not only Google, but with Microsoft and Apple together, we thought that we needed a new name for our platform. So we, DELIMa, Digital Educational Learning Initiative Malaysia, as a way of rebranding our learning platform. But what is DELIMa? Well, DELIMa basically focuses on two things. Number one, the pupils or students. Number two, the teachers. The end game or the purpose of DELIMa is basically to provide lifelong learning experiences, skills, and competencies for pupils for the future of work. And for teachers, DELIMa intends to provide different applications, services, and content that will encourage, engage, and participate in digital learning. So teachers have an important role in ensuring that digital learning moves forward, because in the past, we only had one application. So teachers only learned one application to do online learning, and we call it online classes, right? So before July 2019, teachers usually use one application or service. So after 2019, one of the key things that we developed is that we opened up, we democratized these applications, services, and content. So we used one ID, one way of logging in our learning platform so that teachers can use these open application services and content for teaching and learning online. Choosing a multitude of options ensures that we are not locked into one solution. So that is why we moved on from originally Google Classroom to the learning platform to DELIMa. So DELIMa basically is applications, services, and content relevant for teaching and learning. And one of the key things that you need to know is that by using that one ID, we, or teachers and students, can seamlessly use different applications. They can mix and match different applications for their own learning. So for example, teachers might use Google Classroom, but then use Microsoft Word or Excel together with those other applications. In terms of what each partner does is also very important. So with Microsoft, basically, the choice was about Office applications which teachers are used and familiar with. So Microsoft brings along that familiar experience that's important for teachers. Teachers have been using Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and all those sorts of things for a very long time. And having it on DELIMa gives teachers an opportunity to use these applications for teaching and learning. But apart from those sorts of applications, Microsoft offers other applications as well, such as Teams, which intends to bring together all these technologies into one place, and teachers can use them for teaching and learning purposes. So apart from just the basic Office applications, I think Microsoft here has given the teachers opportunity to play around with a lot of other applications and services. But I guess the most important key thing about these application services is that they are mostly focused on educational applications. Yeah. So what does this mean? For example, for students, there is also applications like Minecraft, yeah, which provides a way for students to learn about programming, creativity, and all sorts of other skills that are important for the future of work. Also, for teachers, I think the provision of having online training is also important. So on DELIMa itself, Microsoft's educational portal, we provide a number of courses for teachers to try out and explore and learn from. Our sort of upcoming courses, I think teachers have, some of you who have logged into DELIMa have seen DELIMa's certified training program. Now, we started off with Google because we had vouchers from them, but by the end of the month, Microsoft will be offering Microsoft certified training programs for teachers. So what does that mean? So basically, there are 4 levels of courses being offered within DELIMa for teachers in terms of Microsoft certification. So the 4 levels starts from CMIE, which is level 1, and up to MOS, which is level 4 Microsoft certification. For these sorts of training, I encourage teachers to take up training, because training ensures that teachers have the knowledge and the skills to further use application services for teaching and learning. And what's important for teachers, I think, in using DELIMa is to have the mindset of using different technologies for the purposes of digital learning. Now let's take the pandemic as an example. The pandemic has accelerated our need for online learning, and teachers, as you have seen, have started to use different applications for delivering online learning to their students. We call it hybrid learning. So hybrid learning basically means that teachers use familiar application services to deliver teaching and learning. And what this means is it's a mix between communicative technologies, for example, WhatsApp or Telegram, and then add on, for example, Teams, Google Classroom, Google Docs, Microsoft Word into their teaching and learning. So what it means is that a lot of times teachers use what's familiar with them and then integrate that into their online learning. Hybrid learning essentially means that pupils are engaged in that learning and have access to learning if they cannot go to school. But it does not only stop at that level. Even if the students are going to school, I believe that online learning gives students an opportunity to, for example, do online homework or to supplement their learning and use it for co-curricular activities. So let's not think about online learning in very specific terms, rather have online learning as an open-ended term in which you can do it for multiple purposes and in multiple ways. For example, we've also seen that some schools have been using DELIMa and all its application for ERPH, for teaching and learning records. And that's an important step towards integrating technologies into our classrooms. I think also that familiarity is dependent on having teachers being trained and certified online. And I, again, would like to encourage teachers to start this journey with DELIMa, with Google, with Microsoft and Apple, which will be providing all sorts of courses within DELIMa for the next few months to get teachers to be familiar with these technologies and to use them for digital learning. This is important because it exposes teachers to different types of application services so they can decide on their own which ones are best for their context and for their teaching and learning situation. And further training also ensures that teachers are at a certain level in terms of their competencies. Previously, we have not partnered with other technologies to provide these sorts of training and certification. But because there is now a need for that, especially to have standards, to have competencies that we can proudly say we have. And that is, I think, an important way forward for us, for teachers especially, to engage themselves in digital learning. Because one of the key things that we need to remember is the center for learning may be the pupils, but the way they need to be facilitated online is still dependent on the teachers themselves. So I guess what I'm also saying is that teachers need to engage and log in into moe-dl.edu.my as much as possible to explore, to experiment, and use these technologies for their teaching and learning. And at the end of the day, what would be great is that teachers continually come in and participate within that conversation, within DELIMa, within that area of digital learning moving forward from now. Because I think as Malaysians, we need to move forward to a place where we need to provide our pupils and students future skills and competencies that are important for Malaysia. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Shukri. That was a very thorough and basically, I believe it covered the objective and the mission and vision of what DELIMa is with regards to creating the platform and also the framework around digital education learning initiative in Malaysia. I would like also get your thoughts around the recent panduan for remote learning that the Ministry of Education has released. I believe it is in preparation for any for further lockdown or closure of schools. So, what are the initiative that DELIMa has created to continue the momentum that teachers has already achieved? From our first MCO to our conditional restricted movement control order, and moving forward towards the future. What are the initiatives that you have provided and also created on DELIMa?
Thank you, Maya. I guess from the initial pandemic, initial MCO, When we first started, we had about around 1 million logins and users in, in DELIMa. But during MCO, it went up to 3.2 million logins and users. Um, the experience from the MCO has taught us that we need to provide a lot of content for teachers and a lot of training. I guess you were there as a partner. You provided DELIMa with webinar series and training programs almost every day, I believe, for all the teachers during that time. And that shows us that a lot of times in the past, we used to think about these sorts of training on our own. So MOE would do it by ourselves, yeah. But the strategy, I guess, moving forward is that we don't do things by ourselves. We have partners and partnerships that help us get towards digital learning. And that's key because partnerships bring along not only knowledge and content, but they also give us other approaches and methodologies that we are not aware of. So they themselves become an important uh, um, an important approach, I guess, in moving forward. Partnerships, I think, are key. Now, they can be technology partnerships, but they can also be content partnerships. So a lot of times, DELIMa works with UNICEF, with DG, and all other agencies that are interested along with us. But the key thing about participating in DELIMa is that everything needs to be provided for free, which a lot of people are not willing to, because for us, being free means having that access content and application for everyone. So it's not limited to one segment or one type of users. So the other key thing is that we needed to provide a way to show that learning is being done by teachers and participation is being elicited into online learning. So in the future, we intend to build ways in which the teachers can see the types of learning that they are doing with their students and their classes. So personalization becomes important because personalization means that teachers can see each individual student or pupil and how he or she is learning. So these sorts of innovations need to be put into DELIMa, and we've actually planned for this in the next few months to put in personalization so that teachers can see where the gaps are and how things can be improved on. The other thing that we're doing from experience is trying to integrate the basic services that the ministry is providing into DELIMa, so it becomes a one-stop sort of hub for information. Yeah, so that's also an ongoing development plan that we have. I guess lastly is we are also inviting participation from all the other divisions from the whole of the ministry. And we're looking at IPG, IPGMs participating into DELIMa, having other divisions like Lembaga Peperiksaan coming into DELIMa. So those sorts of development will encourage teachers to come in and use DELIMa more. And for us, I guess the English phrase is the more the merrier. So having these divisions in gives us a way of using that one idea I mentioned before to have a seamless experience. Teachers don't need to go out anymore into a different system to log in and log out. Just go into DELIMa, you get all the services that you need.
That sounds very, very exciting, even for us as one of the technology partner that, to understand that the ministry really values the partnership between the ministry and also the technology partners, and also welcoming and opening doors for other partners as well, potential partners, provided that you can also make sure that it's going to be provided for free, but of course free, but is beneficial to the the benefit of the teachers and the students learning, right? So okay, so in that case, how would you like to so now that we've seen the kind of visions and also the goals around the type of partnership and the activities that you're going to have on DELIMa, um how are you going to ensure that all of that is going to be sustainable? Because I think one of the fears that a lot of the teachers have is that they are going to be putting in a lot of effort around creating the content to help their peers as well on how to use DELIMa through ruang ilmu and whatnot. So, how do you ensure that there is a sustainability to the growth and the 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 how to say the expansion of what DELIMa can offer to the education system of Malaysia?
Right. Good question, Maya. So basically, you've touched upon two keywords there: engagement and growth. And for us, there's a three-part strategy in a sense. We're concentrating on teachers at the moment for this year. So having teachers being trained and certified is an important first step for us. Number two, the key thing about schools and moving forward is the leadership. So leadership type programs or school-based programs become an important approach as well. So after the training of teachers, one of the key things that we are thinking about is how do we then get leadership to participate in digital learning, how to get them to reimagine leadership in the digital learning sphere. And the next thing that we're looking for, especially for next year, is providing students or pupils certification, like micro courses, other certification that they find interesting, which is far more difficult to do. So with the partners, with the ministry divisions, with other providers, we're thinking of how to deliver that in a meaningful way. So we hope to build for next year learning pathways that ensure certain things can be done. For example, if you think about creativity and collaboration as a part of the key skills for the future, then we need to provide learning pathways for this. So for example, using Minecraft is one way of providing the students creativity and collaboration. So how do we then package Minecraft in a learning pathway for students, for example? Or if the students want to learn programming at a young age, what sort of things can we provide for them? So another learning pathway for STEM or STEAM, starting from maker code, simple programming, and advancing to the end where they might learn about machine learning or AI. Yeah. So that, I guess, is technically also that provide students a way to learn online for the future, because the future is very difficult to predict. Yeah. And the new types of jobs are also going to be completely different. Yeah. For example, we might think about chatbots that you might use, for example, in online shopping. But how do you create it? So that's a new job. The creator of chatbots will have to code, but also how do the social aspects of chatbots in terms of getting people to buy more things or getting people to ask questions. Those sorts of things are also important. So not only the programming important, but the social parts as well become an important aspect in the future. That's how I see it.
All right, great. So I believe that the you when we talk about the jobs of the future, I think for all of our audience information, at this point in time, no particular party could claim, that they know what kind of jobs will still exist in 30 years to come. So the focus now is that we do know that we need to instill those future ready skills, like what Dr. Shukri has mentioned just now, the critical thinking and computational skills. So those are some of the skills that has been called out by a lot of international bodies as these skills that will be required, in the jobs of the future. And I do see that the DELIMa itself is going to be one of the avenues to support creating the skills inside our students, and supporting teachers as well, to help build those kind of learning outcomes, right, of the students. And you've mentioned earlier that you want the DELIMa to be a one-stop portal for various systems and various uh, data to be provided through the DELIMa. So, with regards to creating, maybe one of the key elements that, or one of the key initiative that the ministry has taken upon, which is the classroom-based assessment. So, would that be something that the Lima also envision itself to be one of the platform that will help out with providing assessment, that classroom-based assessment for teachers? And if that is the case, how do you foresee that would happen? What is your vision towards the solution to help out with that initiative?
Yeah, thank you. For us, the word assessment is difficult to pin down. So in many terms, teachers have been using assessment online with all the other, with the applications that are currently available. So for example, if you use quizzes and stuff, that's a way of doing assessment. But in terms of getting school-based assessments, currently a lot of the content are provided by teachers, as you say, through Ruang DELIMa, through the other avenues that are available on DELIMa itself. I have started conversations with the examination syndicate to see how in the future we might provide um, classroom-based assessments for teachers. And in terms that we may start, I call it 3 phases of development. Maybe we start with the simple things that we can do first, and then moving along to matching the items for assessment to a curriculum items as well. So not only thinking about it in terms of assessment, but in terms of curriculum and how that they come together on DELIMa in the future. So that's a lot of work as well, because it does mean that we have to figure out simple things like how do we do online assessment and have it proctored, for example. Yeah, so different hardware technologies need to come in, and teachers and students have to have a certain level of hardware before they can do this proctoring online. Yeah, so all these requirements need to be discussed and developed, and looking forward, I hope my conversations with the examination syndicate will then move us towards that sort of online assessment methodology for the future of our classes.
All right, that sounds like a very good plan. I hope it will, provide us the solution to all of the challenges, the unprecedented challenges that we are facing right now, not only for with the Ministry of Education, but also the Ministry of Higher Education. So, Dr. Shukri, I think we've come to the end of our session. Would you like to provide any final messages to the teachers and the audience that are tuning in right now?
Right. Just one simple request is that the teachers log in to abu-el.edu.my DELIMa and explore and experiment with all the application services and content readily available on there. And for the teachers' information, we continually develop and add on new features for all our applications and services. And for us, this continual iteration is an important way forward, rather than sticking to just one way of doing things and never updating that one way. So for us, it's always an evolution, and yes, I guess that's what I'm trying to say, is that be engaged and experiment with all the stuff that you are able to do on DELIMa. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Shukri, for the valuable sharing and learning that you have provided through this session. Um, from of behalf of Microsoft and also the I believe the organizers of the My Digital Maker Fair, we'd like to provide our heartiest thank you and also congratulations with the everything that DELIMa has achieved, and we are also excited to see the future things that are coming to DELIMa, and also that's going to be beneficial to all of the teachers and students. So with that, I would like to end the session today, and hope that all of our audience could learn and could provide it get some really important takeaways, which is log into the Lima portal and make sure that you engage in all of the contents that the ministry is continually updating to the portal. Okay, so with that, I end today with Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and thank you very much.